Hi friends, welcome back. Today's session will be checking on tax on sales and purchases. This type of tax is basically well known and popular as VAT. Talking about India, it is now replaced with GST. Well, of course, GST has some, its own models or not extra configuration, but similar configuration. I'm not going to talk about GST because uh, GST needs some notes and patterns installed on our system. Currently, which my system doesn't. It's almost similar configuration. I'll show you how to configure GST tax codes and VAT tax codes here in this session itself. Well, if you are curious to know what VAT is, well, guys, I cannot take up that session now. What VAT is probably in future sessions, yes. Meanwhile, I would request you to check online or check with some or a tax expert what VAT is. Okay. Basically, there are two components: input and output tax. Input tax is on purchases and output tax is on sales. VAT credit, what you receive on input, can be used to set off your output tax. These are some basics which I thought of giving you in a brief. Okay, next, let's configure the taxes. Yes, under display ING, financial accounting new, under global settings, tax on sales or purchases, basic settings, check calculation procedure. T code for the same is OBYZ, the last four digits. Define procedures. New entries. Look, since taxes are at country level, neither at company code or state level, they're at country level. So only one taxation procedure can be assigned to your country. Okay. Now, or any country, but my company code is India based, so I'm using that. Select your entry and go to control data. Then you see blank screen, go with new entries. Just bear with me. Let me fill in all the fields. I shall let you know what I did. Okay. Okay, you're ready. Huh. This is the base about, as you can see, these are condition types. Your tax procedure is basically telling tax on what, okay, on what is the tax to be applied. For example, I say BASB code is step number 10. This is what I generally provide. You can also go for any step, 1, 2, 3, skip the numbers, 100, 200, 300. It's up to you. I use 10. That means BASB is 10. So 10 stands for BASB. What do I say? MWAS is condition type, which is standard. There are many condition types. Use MWAS only. That output tax should be calculated on what? On base amount, correct? This is what I told to system, that output tax should be calculated on 10. That is BASB. And input tax should be calculated on BASB. Okay. If there was to be cess, what would I do? Cess on 20. Okay. It's tax on tax. And 30. Okay. And account keys. These are standard for input. Here. So my mistake. It's MWS is for output and VST is for input. Okay. For output, it's MWS. For input, it's VST. You can also go with drop down and choose. There are a few other fields which are not relevant, and save. There may be a complex tax procedure, but this is what you can learn better with this very tiny tax procedure. Next, assign country to calculation procedure. T code is OBBG. Go inside. Position my country India. You see, there is already a tax. I tax someone has assigned. I'll be removing it off and assign 9001, which is my tax procedure which I just assigned. So, person who assigned his tax procedure, I tax wouldn't work. It would be 9001 for all the Indian company codes. Next, time for calculation. Define tax code for sales and purchases. Remember, tax codes, wherever you see, it's basically defining the percentage or rate of tax. Country India, tax code, whether GST, go for GST, or I go with input or output, whatever. I say 9 for my company code, or generally company code doesn't work here, but here 9 I, because taxes are at country level. No one provides this company code, tax code. Okay, 9I. Input, tax type, input or output, only two options. I go with input and press enter. You're there. Input, what's the rate? 10%. Do not enter rate when you're defining input tax. Do not enter rate in opposite to output tax. Else system will start computing output tax as well about input tax. You're good to go. Saved. So one tax code is created for input. Let's create another tax code for output. Let it save. I hope there's no network problem. Yeah. Tax code 9I is created. I go with 90. Okay, 90. It is in the display mode. I need to change it to create mode. I need to go back for once. Go inside. Well, this is generally not the case where you need to go back and but I don't know why system asks me. I enter the same thing 90 output. This time it's A. Output tax, continue. Under output tax, the same, or 12% I give. Generally, output taxes are higher than input taxes. Good to go. You have now created your tax codes. Next, postings. Well, you may be seeing many options here, but they are specific to countries. Depending on countries, your consultant or your business may ask you for that functionality. Next, define tax accounts. When system posts input or output tax, what GL do you want to pick? Well, there are many things here. Remember our account keys, VST and MWS. Let's go there. Now, you have MWS, output tax, and VST, input tax. So let's assign some GLs. Either way, either input first or output first, it's up to you. I go with input, double click. It prompts for chart of accounts. 9001 is correct chart of accounts. Very important. Unless you select this or checkmark this, system is not going to let you enter. Okay. Tax code is important. Wait. Not this. Unless you save this, system is not going to let you in. Tax code is also optional. You can add, yeah, you can add tax code. That's fine. Else not required. Fine. You just have to save this. Look, what is the difference if you have the check mark or not? If you do not mark that, if you do not select the checkbox and save, you only have an option to enter account. What if under rules, I select this and save? System will prompt you for tax code and GL both. Okay. Generally, if you wish to, if you have more than one tax codes and you want to assign a separate GL for each one of them, then this is the ideal situation for you. Currently, my tax code is 9I under input. Correct. We are configuring input. I cannot enter 9O here. O is for output. What GL do you want to assign? Well, let's see what GL do we have. If we don't have a GL for input tax, we'll be creating one. Let's go to FS00. I keep the screen intact. And input tax falls under current assets. I create one. Oops, sorry. There shouldn't be special characters. I already have 1,10,001. I go with 1,10,000. Current assets, balance sheet, of course, input tax, account. To scroll to other tabs, just a shortcut, you can use Control 11, Control F11 as well. Go with line items and open items. I'll tell you why open items. Go with create bank interest and G001 and save. Assign this GL 1,10,002 here. And it's 9I, not 91. Okay. So for 9I, this GL is set. Input tax. Now, now going up to output tax, you can also go with page down for faster scrolling. Under output tax, same. Tax code 90. Let's create a GL for output tax as well. Under category, current liabilities. Okay. I already have to 2,01,000. I create a new GL 2,02,000. Under current liabilities, balance sheet, VAT output, or just output tax account. Copy paste, control data same. Line item display and open item management. G001 of course and save. So now I just enter this GL there and save. So GL assignment has also been done, complete. Now, very important aspect. This is also part of not configuration but master data maintenance. Generally, your taxes, for example, your input tax is calculated on your expenditure. For example, rent expenditure. You need to set this GL as tax relevant, else system won't calculate tax on this GL. So here under tax category, you can have input. If you have your 9I input, system would be only looking after 9I. No other tax code will be applied to this expense. So go with input tax account and star. That means star posting, sorry, here check mark, posting without tax allowed. If there is a transaction where you don't want to calculate tax, input tax on it, system would allow you. If you remove this check mark, system won't allow you to get pass through the transaction without assigning a tax code. So put this indicator if you want, if you know that there are certain transactions without tax. Okay, this was for input. Okay, well, from the advent of EHP5, this is a rule that you cannot directly just change the tax indicator of a GL which has balances. So what in general we do is we make the balances 0 of a specific GL and change. But I'm not doing that now. I'll be creating a new expense account. Okay, I copy the rent and change the name expense account. And in the control data, input, posting without tax allowed, and saved. There you go. Similarly, for revenue, you need to assign output tax. So system would prompt me for the same error. Hence, I'm copying this GL sales revenue account. Just to differentiate, I'm entering another name. So here I would take output tax accounts and posting without tax allowed and saved. There you go. You have completed the last step of input and output taxes. Let's go for postings under FB60. So before proceeding further, let me go back to my Excel. What were the things? We need to first complete the configurations. Done. Then master data changes relevant to tax. Done. Finally, let's have the transactions. And set off input and output taxes. Let's see, the first two are completed. Let's go with the third one, the transactions. Since I'm in vendor payables, you will be finding input tax account. For example, 5,000. Calculate tax. Okay, since we are going to calculate tax, click here, calculate tax. Text is mandatory. GL 4 lakh 1 because 4 lakh is not relevant to tax yet. This is tax code. Tax code be 9I. You can drop down. Hey, what's the problem? No values found. Strange. Audi. Excuse me. Which company code is this? This is fine. Uh, Give me a moment. Let me check the assignment /OBBG and a country IN. Wow, someone has changed the tax procedure. Uh, well, that means someone else is also, you know, posting or practicing this taxations. Should I remove him? Okay, let me. Because think, if he has just assigned the tax procedure OD, that means he's still under configurations. So meanwhile, I can just complete my transaction and revert it back. What say? Just complete it as quickly as possible so that he is not troubled, so that I'm not troubling anyone. Quick, 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 quick. Under drop down. Now you see 9I and I know. Quick. I go with simulate. What's this? Enter the tax about for account. Strange. Base amount system asks for base amount. Yes, it's 5,000. Sorry, not 50. It's 5,000. Yeah, it's 5,000. Base amount. Come on. Determine tax base. I'm not going to enter tax amount. I want system to calculate on its own. So determine tax account, tax base. That's fine. I simulate now. Look, balance is 0. Oh, system did not calculate it. But why? Under taxes. System finds this. 9I is this. 10% of. Okay. Give me a moment. System never troubles me for this tax base. Why is system doing now? No. Something's wrong. Something's wrong with the configuration, or someone is just tweaking the configurations of my system. Please give me a moment. I see that uh, it could be problem with my master data. Let's see. Let me just jump back to my master data. I keep the screen this way. Okay, leave. Let me head to my master data. Where's my tax GL? Assets. Put tax. This is fine. Output tax GL looks fine. That is relevant, not relevant expense. Here, I guess this is a problem because system may be considering that this GL, expense GL, is a tax account. No, I don't want system to consider that. So you take star here, all tax types allowed. Okay, and under revenue as well use star, because when you enter input and output accounts, the greater than or less than symbol, system may be considering that this is a tax GL and you need to enter the base amount. Generally, base amount is asked only in that cases. Hopefully it gets resolved. Let's check. I re-enter the transaction. Hopefully, because system only asks for a base amount when you're posting directly into a tax account. 4 lakh 1, 5,000. Tax 9I. Oops, sorry. Look, since I'm here now, I'll tell you something. It says GL account 4,01,000 is relevant to tax. And you see that this is a warning. Once you remove the checkmark posting allowed without taxes, this converts into error. So I have said that I need to make some postings which do not have taxes. Hence, system is only giving me a warning. Let's simulate now. That's it. So no error for the base amount, because base amount is asked by the system only when you are posting it to tax accounts. Well, my mistake. Pardon. Do not use greater than or less than symbol in the master data. Always use star. Okay. Now another point here. System is calculating inclusive of taxes. That means system considers that expense account is inclusive of tax. That is, I used 10%, hence system must be calculating this. Let me use Excel for more clarity. For example, 5,000 is my expense. System shall be calculating 10 by 110. Okay, let's see. This is equal to 5,000 into 10 by 110. 454. This is equal to this minus this. So that means system is calculating inclusive. This is one way how system is calculating. This is called inclusive. If you want system to calculate on net, that is, if you say that 5,000 is my expenditure, you want system to calculate 10% out of it, and you want 500 to be tax shown separately, correct? This can also be done with a small check mark. Do not post the document yet. Go back, go to editing options in the same screen, and check mark calculate taxes on net amount. This is a user specific setting. This is not part of configuration. Okay. So now system asks for more amount. So here the entry would be my expense is 5,000. My vendor is what to say? My credit is 5,000 minus. In that case, system would ask for 500 here. Okay. Let's see. 5,500 here. Let's simulate. There you go. So my expense is 5,000. Input tax account is 500, and this is 5,500. This is net. Okay. It's up to the user how is entering into the system. I post. Now let me check FBL3N, my tax account. This is not my tax account. Well, here you see this is my input tax account, which shows red. Now you may be wondering, why is it red? Generally, we have seen red, greens only in your vendor or customer, but why in GL all of a sudden? Remember, in FS00, when creating this input and output tax accounts, I set open item management. That means this has similar properties of your vendor and customer, similar. Because now this needs to be set off with your output tax. As soon as you set off, this gets green. I'll show you how. Now, let me post a transaction for output tax as well. Output tax will be under customer sales. I use a customer. Is this a customer? No. My customer is this. It's up to you. Now you can either use your FB60, FB70 or use traditional, what we say, FB50. Because my concern is only revenue and expense accounts. Under calculate tax, this time this shouldn't be a problem because we have already corrected our mistakes in expense GL. So this should be 10,000. This should be 11,000. Oh no. Let's see what system does. Tax code is 90. Output tax is not tax relevant. Yeah, the GL was 3 lakh 1. Remember? Because to modify in 3 lakhs, system would ask me to make the balance 0. So it says 1200. So 2 and 1. There you go. Because that was 12%. I simulate. System says output tax is 1200. There you go. On 10,000, it's 12%, 1200. Post this transaction. Okay, as I told you, since the advent of our parallel ledgers, we created some parallel ledgers. DR document type is number is mandatory. Since there is no T code for the same, you will have to go through path. Hence, set up your parallel ledgers initially. Since this was a training session, so I had to gradually improve the topics from a beginner level to a higher level. I had to, maintain some long gap between the basics and the advanced topics. We have already maintained this for vendor invoice KR, and now for DR 2018 from 2000 to 2009. Out of the screen, I press enter here and post. There you go. Document is posted. Now let me check the line items. Yeah. Now I need to choose both input and output tax here to view side by side. So I go to this option icon and choose my output tax account 2,10,002. I'm sure this is the GL. No. So what was the GL? Let me check the output tax GL. It's 2 lakh 2. Okay. Input tax is 500 debit and output tax is 1200 credit. What is the net amount payable? So the net amount payable is 700 rupees. Let's set this off. This is a very new thing you are going to see. Okay. T code to set off GLs. You have been seeing vendor outgoing payment, customer income payment. GL also you will see this. Document entry. Yeah, either go with incoming or outgoing. I go with outgoing because this is an outgoing payment transaction. It's SA. Bank account, my cash account basically, which will be paid out. So I see that 700 is my payable amount after setting off. Here, very, very, very important. What items are you selecting? Open items. First of all, my input tax account 11002 and output tax 20002. Now, here you can enter only one account. If I go inside, I can find only one. To enter two, you need to use this check mark, other accounts. As soon as you click this and press enter, system will prompt you for other accounts. Enter your other account. Account type is S. S stands for GL. Company code 9001. Yes, standard open items. If it is some special GL, remove the standard and click on and enter the special GL, A or F or whatever. If this is a customer or vendor, you enter your customer or vendor number, account type K, K for vendor, D for customer, company code, and so on. Hence, you can clear customer with vendors as well. Okay. For example, there is a vendor who is a customer as well, and you need to clear among them. You can do this. So now you see two documents are visible, as you can see here. For input tax I have 1017, for output tax I have 5006. I have 1017 and 5006 ready. 500 is debit and 1200 is credit. I set off both. Net payable is 700. Should I simulate? Upon simulate, I see this entry. Output tax gets debit by 1200, which was credit 1200. Input tax gets total 500 minus, and cash outbound paid is 700. I save. So document 12 is posted. When I check this FBL 3N, what do you expect? Okay, all green. This is the reason why I set them as open item. Okay, so we have completed the transactions and set of input and output taxes in this session. In next session, probably foreign currency valuation or withholding tax. Let's see whatever is suitable for me in that time. Uh, thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye bye.